Alrighty, hey guys, welcome back to another thread review and kind of overlook video. So we have it's kind of like a question, it's a technical support issue, right? It was resolved, but it does have some dev information here. We have some codes here as well, so we might learn a thing or two about this. So I thought, why not? Let's go over it. Plus, it's your guys' favorite developer, so I thought, why not? So I'm gonna link this down below, and the title is "Peace requirements for defeated kingdom are unbalanced." There it is. So we're gonna see what he's talking about, see what we can actually help with. Obviously, it's already resolved. I'm still gonna give my opinion of it and see what the devs have to say. All right, let's do it. So the guy who made the original post, here he goes. I think this is a bug. In this playthrough screenshot, I've defeated all the fiefs/settlements of the Northern Empire. Since my last declaration of war, I took their last settlements and have destroyed their military. However, no matter how much time passes, the Northern Empire will only demand payment from me for peace, and I can't figure out why. The only stat on the list that they have more wins in is the number of successful raids, and that's because they don't own any villages for me to raid, or I would. Shouldn't he be paying me? Question mark. I'm gonna finish exactly all the questions he's saying, and then I'm gonna give my response to it. Could it be because the AI's math shows that there's no income unless there are tribute payments? I never know how to say his name. Is it Lucian or Lucan? One or the other. Has numerous mercenary units in his employ, but I don't know how he pays for them outside of declaring war all the time with the other kingdoms, and I assume getting tribute from them for peace. Is the game designed to be this way? Unless I start executing all the Northern Empire clan members, he will never go away. Alrighty, so we have gone over this in the past, and here's the best way I could explain it, right? So you're the dominant person in this arrangement, right? And the Northern Empire are the guys that don't have anything. They're barely there, but they want you to pay for peace, right? And I'm guessing in this situation, you do want peace. Um, so, well, hold on. No matter how many time passes, no only demands payment from me for peace, and I can't figure out why. Okay, so it wasn't mentioned here, but here's how it is. If you are the one that wants peace, even though you are number one and they are number two in terms of strength, you are paying them to not raid your villages. You are paying them to not cause little commotion. Even though it's super little and it barely is worth anything, you can have 20,000 strength and he can have 500, and you're still paying him not because of his strength size, but because you want him to stop messing around in a way, right? If he wanted you to stop messing with him, then he would vote to make peace with you and you would get payment. The problem is the AI doesn't do votes like that, right? When it comes to the player, when it comes to going against the player, if that kind of makes sense, right? The enemy won't usually. I don't know if they do vote, but it's very, very rare, and I'm pretty sure they don't. I've read in the dev replies that they don't right now currently. When if it's the player's kingdom, then it's kind of like coded in a way where the game wants the player to make the decision of going into peace or not going into peace. Like the player could call the vote, or some other clan in the player's kingdom is going to call the vote, but the enemy won't really call the vote. They'll call the vote for war, but they won't call the vote for peace. That's kind of more of a, your side. It's like the ball's in your court type of a situation. But in terms of this, the reason the bigger clan pays the smaller clan, even though it might make sense that the smaller clan should pay the bigger clan because of strength, it doesn't have much to do with strength. It has more to do with who wants the peace. If you want the peace and you're the bigger clan, you're paying them to just not mess around with your villages and not do all the other small stuff. That's just kind of how it is. That's the price you pay. And also, like you stated here, could it be the AI's math? There's no income unless there's tribute payments. Yes. So since you took all their villages, since you took all their towns, they don't have that income. Therefore, they will ask for tribute payments because guess what? They need to somehow make money. That's just how it is. So in a way, yes, that's kind of how it's coded, but both sides kind of make sense. You thinking that strength is the thing that should be paid for, which does make sense in a way, right? If the person with bigger strength should get money from the person with smaller strength, does make sense. But I also think the whole point of if you're the bigger guy and you want the smaller guy to just stop messing around, even however small it is, you'll pay him to just not have to continually deal with him, if that kind of makes sense, right? All right, let's see what the devs have to say. So we got community support. He said okay, so he brought this up. He asked for the save file. Cool. And it states, I haven't been informed that this is not a bug. The Northern Empire has nothing to lose, therefore demands more. Thanks for reporting and sorry for the inconvenience. There it is. See, like I said, it's kind of like a game feature. Like, since they really have nothing to lose, like they have no more property, they're going to demand money some way or another, right? But let's see what the dev has to say. So here's the player pretty much replying to this community support that states that this is not a bug. So here's what the player has to say. Thank you for confirming for me one way or the other. The problem with this path is the kingdom has tons of mercs that just constantly harass unless I pay a huge fee. They constantly declare war against everyone and take the peace money. So my only option is to eliminate this is to kill all the nobles of the faction, the lords, which I can't do without pissing off the entire map. There it is. There's your answer. That is their finesse. That's how they finesse it. You know what I mean? That's how they get their money. They hire a lot of mercs. They make you, want peace, and then they demand money for you to make peace. It's a game feature, man. It is what it is. And like you said, the only way to actually get rid of this is if you eliminate them by going chop. But guess what? If you do that, everyone's going to be mad at you. It's a choice. It's a choice you have to make. You know what I mean? Are you going to pay for peace, or are you going to deal with this constant harassment? That's just what it is. I think, it's the game design. You know what I mean? It might be annoying, but I think it's good game design, in my opinion, right? Obviously, there's still problems with the whole chop, and how that execute feature. Right now, the problem with the execute feature is it doesn't impact just the friends. It literally impacts 5 or 6 random lords in the current world map. So they could literally be like your wife, and she'll be impacted by it. Or it could be like your kids, and they will be impacted by it. It's literally right now just rolls the dice and gives you 5 or 6. I forgot the exact number. 5 or 6 random people that will just get very mad with you if you do go and execute somebody. That's why it's like literally kind of like Russian roulette when it comes to that option. So this definitely needs to get fixed up, and get better where it only affects friends and maybe family members, which would make a lot of sense. But yeah, it's a choice. All right, so Dev responds, if in a kingdom no towns or castles left, this means they have no tax income, as I stated before. 66% of income come from town/village taxes at game remaining. Wait. 66% of income comes from town and villages taxes. And then remaining to that is loot and tribute income. Maybe also they get paid by other kingdoms for peace, and these numbers can be around 1,000 to 2,000 per day maximum. With these conditions, they cannot hire mercenaries for long years. At some point, King will not be able to pay for mercenaries, and they will leave the kingdom. After that, only King clan will be left in the kingdom probably, and other clans will leave them in several years, and they will want less money for peace. There was a bug, and mercenaries were not leaving kingdom when they are not getting paid. It has been fixed with 1.5.8, and this will probably help. Interesting. So there is currently a bug, as the dev just stated, that mercenaries do not leave certain kingdoms, even if they're not paid. So what the dev is pretty much saying is after 1.5.8, mercenaries will leave, therefore making the trouble, the possible chaos that the smaller kingdom can create be a lot less. Therefore, what you pay them will be less, but you still will have to pay them a little bit, if you want them off your back. That's still there. But okay, good to see that there is a bug that's being fixed. Then we have a player asking, does/will this apply to a player mercenary company as well? If so, is there any notice to the player? Dev responds, yes, it will be applied to player as well. I do not know how we inform player currently when one of his mercenaries leave. Is it stated at left button comments? If not, it can be adding some kind of information there. Or currently, if mercenaries leave, they just join a different. Doesn't it pop up in the middle of the screen on one of those, like, what do you call it, like scrolls or whatever? You see, that's usually when I've seen them pop up that they have left your kingdom. On that topic, I think it's important to always mention this, and I can't wait until this happens, and I think it should happen, and I really, really, really wish it does happen. I think when mercenaries and vassals are about to leave your kingdom, they should run up to you, or a messenger should run up to you and say, hey, we're not happy with our current stance. And they should give you a reason, like, hey, our reputation is really low with you. We're thinking of leaving. If you pay us this much more, then we will stay. Give us an option, but also if the reputation is down so much, then yes, they can leave randomly. I get that. If let's say you have like negative 100 reputation with one of your vassals and they leave randomly, that makes sense. It's like one of those jobs that you really just don't like, and at one point you just have enough of it that, you know what I mean, you just leave the job, you never call them back, you never put your 2 weeks in. People have been there. If you're over the age of 18 or whatever the working age is, wherever you're from, and you've been through a couple of jobs, you've had that job, you know what I mean? So in the game, if a vassal has a terrible experience, reputation literally like negative 100, and they leave randomly like they do right now, makes sense. But if it's like negative 30 and they think about leaving, I think a scout should come by. You should get a message on your screen like, hey, you just met a scout. He wants to talk to you about so and so, this clan that's under your kingdom. You say, yes, I want to talk to them. Then it brings you to this talking screen, and then it shows the scout, and he's like, hey, the reputation's down a lot. The leader of this clan is thinking about leaving, but he does want to state that, if we pay this much, then he will stay. Or if you give him this much influence, he will stay. If you support him, he will stay. Something like that. I think we should have that, and I think that would be so good to have. And with that being said, once they implement that, you can implement so much more game functions. You can implement the game function of like send a scout out to this leader so he can come and talk to you, and then you can just, it would make for such smoother gameplay than having to run around the map and try to find them. I think sending scouts makes sense. It was done in the past. Sending scouts is a huge thing. Sending your fastest rider to send a message here or send a message there, like, that should be in the game. That really should be in the game, and I hope it's there, mod or in game, but I think it should be in the game. Alrighty, okay, so we got a statement, and then we also have a response from the dev. So here's the statement. So it's kind of confusing at first, but what you see for the tribute on the diplomacy screen is representative of you wanting peace. If you could see Northern Empire diplomacy screen, it would be completely different value for them to offer peace. Boom. So he's responding to the main player, the main poster of this thread, and he pretty much states in a way like what I said, like, since you want peace, you kind of have to pay, and if they wanted peace, then they would pay. But again, the way it's coded, it's pretty much the ball's in your court. You have to make that choice if you want to make peace with them most of the time. You know what I mean? I want to say all the time because I'm pretty sure the devs have stated previously that that's currently not in the game, and I haven't seen it. And I don't want to say it's rare. I really think it's not in the game currently, where the enemy kingdom. They can make war with you. They could be the ones that start the war. When it comes to ending it with peace, it's usually on the player. And then, okay, see, he talks about the same exact thing as me that I just said, right? So he then states to the developer, the same player, the true issue here is the AI factions will not offer peace to kingdoms with the player in it. Boom. Boom. Exactly what we talked about. This makes it so the player ever wants to get out of a war, they have to take their peace tribute instead of opposing sides' tributes. Again, the ball is in their court, which would be more advantageous for the player since they weren't asking for peace. Exactly. I think they should have that ability, and I think he's about to talk about it right now. So let's see what the dev has to say. So dev states, yes, it seems you are right. Reason of this secondary condition, kingdom, exclamation point, equals clan, player clan, kingdom, can be there is only one voting in each agreement. Okay. If we remove the condition, player will suddenly see kingdoms make peace without voting because they accepted amount your kingdoms want. This amount is determined automatically. We do not want the system both sides in voting. Interesting. So I think what he means by this is if they made it both sides voting where they can vote, then you would see a lot of automatic peace. Whenever a war would start, if they would, let's say as soon as the war starts, their tribute vote becomes, what's it called? Make peace with this person, and they pay you. Then all of a sudden, what you're gonna have is an instant war, and then 2 seconds later, instant peace, and all of a sudden you're paying the other kingdom because of some calculations made by the AI clan. That is the problem in that system. For example, if you are a vassal of the Khazaits and you want to make peace with the Azerai, you see how many dinars they want daily. This number is advantageous number for Azerai compared to their situation, of course. When you click peace button, a diplomacy tab, your kingdom will vote accepting this payment or not. However, they do not make a voting for determining that amount. We can remove their secondary condition for at least player is a vassal situation. I need to ask team. Okay, so this is still being talked about. He needs to ask the team how this exactly would work, but I can see kind of the discrepancies there. There could be some discrepancies with letting that system work. Okay, interesting. And that will about do it for me. Let me know what you guys think overall. I would like to see it, but we'll see what happens. We'll see what they come up with and if it will be changed or not. But hopefully this was informative. Ask me any questions, any concerns, and like always, stay safe.